Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to the conversation. So today I got a pretty dope video for you guys. And the question is, will Kawhi Leonard win his third NBA championships these playoffs? That's the question today. But before I get into that, make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like button. We're trying to get to as many likes as possible on these videos. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers as soon as possible so we can keep this thing going. So go ahead and do that for me. All right, so let's get back into the topic. So the question is, will Kawhi Leonard be able to win his third NBA championship this season? Now, I know it seems a little bit crazy to be even asking that question. This dude has only been playing for 8 seasons, and he already has 2 titles, and we're now possibly talking about him winning his third NBA championship. So nevertheless, that's the question. Now, what's making me think about this question? Where's all this coming from? Again, as you guys know, the season is back. Depending on when you guys are seeing this video, it may be breaking news to you. If you guys already abreast with that already, then it's not going to be a big deal to you. But whatever it is, the NBA season is definitely back and up and rolling, and I'm super excited about it. Now, going into the end of the regular season, there were about 60 games left to play in the regular season. The Raptors had played 64 games, and they were pretty much at the finish. They were pretty much nearing the finish line. They were on a pretty good tear. They had won 7 out of their last 10 games. Now, they had dropped a game to the Lakers, but they bounced back with another win right after losing that game. But they had been on a pretty impressive run, beating the Grizzlies, beating the Sixers, beating the Houston Rockets in a pretty decisive way when they ended up beating the Houston Rockets. And I remember some people in the comment section saying, yeah, the Houston Rockets are going to beat them, whatever, but y'all saw what happened that game. So they were beginning to hit their playoff stride. They had their full complement of players available. They were healthy for really the first time in the season, and they were beginning to peak at the right moment. Doc Rivers had said that he had decided that he wanted Kawhi Leonard towards the end of the regular season to start taking the defensive assignment on some of the best perimeter wings, the best perimeter players in the NBA, and you would see him put him on Ja Morant, Devin Booker, James Harden, and he was playing great defense on these guys, just sort of getting his muscle memory back to playoff form and getting him ready for the playoffs, where he was going to have to play some pretty tough teams, because in the Western Conference, they have a lot of great wing players, either in LeBron James or James Harden, Luka Doncic, or whoever it is. He's going to have to be able to play defense at a really high level to be able to go against some of these players in the Western Conference. And Doc Rivers was doing a good job with that. And they were starting to do really, really well. They were scoring about 116.2 points a game. So they were actually putting up more points than the Lakers, but they were holding their opponents to 109 per game. So there was about a 7-point differential between what they were scoring and their opponents. Now, I still think 109 points is really high, but to be fair, in the latter stages of the season, they were holding a lot of their teams closer to 100, and in some cases under 100 points a game. So, and I think they were beginning to bring that number down. I think if you can hold an NBA team to under 100 points in today's NBA with all of the added possessions and the pace of the game, I think you're a pretty good defensive team, and they were beginning to hit their stride. Now, if we look at his individual numbers for the season, he was averaging 27 points a game, or he is averaging 27 points a game, 7.3 rebounds, and 5 assists. These are all pretty much career highs for the dude. He's averaging over a steal a game. He's shooting close to 47% from the field. He's shooting about 37% from the three-point line, close to 90% from the free throw line. He was shooting 89-point-something%, so I'm just going to round it up, that he was shooting 90% from the free throw line. So he was putting up some good numbers. His running mate in Paul George had just recently come back for some health issues, some knick-knack issues. I think he had a hamstring pull or something like that he was dealing with. So he was beginning to round himself back into shape. The same with Patrick Beverley, who had been in and out of the lineup for the Clippers. So they were beginning to get healthy again. And, Lou Williams was beginning to get some minutes again. Montrezl Harrell, who has pretty much been consistent all throughout the season, he was doing well. Landry Shamet was doing well. Marcus Morris was a little bit up and down, but he was a new player that they just integrated into that system. So I was giving him a little bit more time to sort of get his legs under him and get a better understanding of that system. But he was leading this team in all of the major categories when it comes to, points, rebounds, and steals. He was leading the team in all of that. And I said he was getting about 1.8 steals, so close to 2 steals a game, just to show you the level of intensity he was playing on defense. But the question is, though, can he win his 3rd NBA championship this season? And I think it's a good question to ask because you remember a lot of the teams in the league at the time when they were playing, if we didn't have this global pandemic, they were actually, some of them had some injuries and the Clippers were just coming back. But with this extended break, I think all the teams that were nursing these little knick-knack injuries had the opportunity to sort of lick their wounds and get themselves healthy again. So going into these playoffs, I think everyone is going to be available in the playoffs in Orlando, the 22 teams, and ultimately the top 16 teams in each conference. I think all of them are going to be fully healthy and fully rested. So I don't think injuries are going to be an issue. Now, obviously, a freak accident can happen in the playoffs, and we've seen that happen before, similarly to what happened to Kevin Durant last season in the NBA playoffs, and ultimately ended up rupturing his Achilles tendon in the NBA Finals last season. So freak accidents do happen. We've seen them before, and it could happen again, but I'm just going to assume that that's not going to happen, and he's not going to get injured these playoffs. So last time we saw Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs last season, the dude shot 50% from the field, 38% from the three-point line, 88% from the free throw line. He scored 30.5 points a game, got you 1.7 steals, and got you 9.1 rebounds. He led the entire playoffs in points, rebounds, and steals last season when he was in the playoffs. And this season, he's playing about 32 minutes a game. But last season in the playoffs, he was playing 39 minutes a game. So I assume that he's going to have fresh legs and he's going to be able to play just about 39 or let's say 40 minutes a game if need be. Another reason why I think Kawhi Leonard has a good chance to repeat is because of the coaching staff. He's going to be with Doc Rivers and some really smart people behind him. So I think he has a good coaching staff behind him that is going to be able to draw up great plays, but also going to be able to keep their composure in pressurized situations because Doc Rivers has already been to the championship round and won an NBA championship. So if they do get to the championship, I don't think Doc Rivers is going to be flustered by anything that he sees. Another thing is obviously the rest that he has. All of his teammates already have rest, and I think his experience that he already has in the playoffs as a championship player, I think is going to bode well for him in the playoffs. Again, he's also going to have no back-to-backs. I think a lot of people hold that against him and saying, is he going to be able to play back-to-back, especially Nick Wright, who was infamous for saying that. But in the playoffs, there are no back-to-backs. So he's going to have at least a day off in between every single game that he plays. So he will be available for all of the playoff games that he's going to be playing in. So I don't think he's not going to miss any games in the playoffs, and he didn't miss any games in the playoffs last season, so I don't anticipate that happening this season. I think another thing working for him is that he's determined to prove a lot of people wrong. Most people, you don't really hear a lot of sound bites from him. He's not on social media. He doesn't have an Instagram account. But a lot of people seem to question his determination and all of this stuff. And a lot of people just assume that, okay, LeBron James is going to win because he's the most competitive, most driven basketball player. Because we hear him talk, we see him talk. So, but Kawhi Leonard, since you don't hear much from him, one would just assume you don't know much about him, so you just sort of write him off. But for me, I think he's determined to prove a lot of people wrong once again and prove to them that he made the right decision. And ultimately, he had the chance to go sign with the Lakers and play with LeBron and AD, but he chose to play against the Lakers and and lift an organization that had never even been to the NBA Finals to possibly get them to the NBA Finals and ultimately win a championship in LA, which is his hometown. So I think he has a lot of determination behind him, but ultimately, I think it's just his time, man. I think sometimes in the NBA, some people have their run. You saw the same thing with the Golden State Warriors. They had their moment. They went to 5 straight NBA championships. You saw the Miami Heat. They had their moment. They went to, I think, 4 straight NBA championships. The Lakers had their moment. They went to 3 NBA championships. and they won 2 out of 3. And I think now it's Kawhi Leonard's time, man. And I think this is going to be his time to get his championship rings. And I don't know how long his window is going to be open for, but I think this is definitely going to be his moment and his time to start winning some chips. So that's the reason why I think he's going to win his third NBA championship this playoff. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you agree with me? Do you think Kawhi Leonard will win his third NBA playoff ring this year, or do you think it's going to be somebody else? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified when all of our content drops. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Peace.